everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to share with you 7 great tips that can get you out of a reading slump. So if you're feeling a little uneasy, not able to read, then stay tuned in this video, and by the end of it, you'll have some great tips to get you starting to read again. So my first tip is to read one chapter a day. So I think this greatly works. It has worked for me. So if you have one of those really fat books that you're trying to read and you haven't gotten through it at all, then I would recommend that you find a place and read just like one chapter. And when you're done with that one chapter, you can close the book. And then the next day, you can do another chapter again. Sometimes at the start of the book, things are really slow, so you don't really get invested in the book and you end up getting into a reading slump because it's not really interesting you. But you know that towards the end of the book, that things will start picking up. So if you go one chapter a day, in a couple of weeks or maybe in about 5 days in, you'd be like at a place in the book where things start to heat up. And once things start to heat up, you will not be able to put the book down yourself. But to edge yourself to get there, I would highly recommend you do this one chapter a day trick. It really works. It's worked with me, and I hope it'll work with you. Tip number 2. Now this is to read a short book. Now, I know we have lots of books in our TBR and they're all really huge, 300 pages, 400 pages, and at a point when you're in a reading slump, you feel intimidated and you don't feel like taking the book up and to start reading it at all. So at moments like this, I highly recommend that you read a short book, maybe 60 pages, 80 pages, within 100 pages most probably. Now here I've given some recommendations of books that I think personally are easy to get through and you will still get the satisfaction of completing a book. Now the reason why this works is exactly that. Once you finish this book, you feel like you're closer to finishing more books. So you've done a book, and if you do another book that's equally thinner, then you feel like you've actually completed 2 books, and that will give you the motivation to start reading more. So you can look at these tips over here for books that are short, or you can definitely look up more on Goodreads. I can give you more recommendations in a separate video which talks about books that are less than 100 pages, and you can pick up some from those as well. I'll do that video shortly. And this tip works, so try it out and let me know if this helped you. Tip number 3. This is to read comics or graphic novels or mangas or anything in that genre more. So sometimes I constantly feel like the books that you read, even if it is short, even if it is long, you feel like there are lots of characters in the book, there's lots happening in the book, you need to get invested in the book, or you just feel like you don't feel like reading so many words at the same time, and that's kind of intimidating as well. So one of the ideas to get out of a reading slump is to read comics. Now I have given some recommendations here for comics or graphic novels. There are also some great mangas out there, so you can try reading these, and this again will give you a satisfaction of completing something. Once you're done with this, you could probably try reading a short book, and then you will get the feel of trying to read again, and slowly you can work your way up to your normal TBRs. This is a great way to start reading when you don't feel like reading at all. Especially some of the comics that I've listed here, like Archie's or Asterix, they're really small but really entertaining and really fun as well. So try this out as well, and I hope this tip helps. Tip number 4. This is to read children or middle grade books more. So most often or not, if we try to read books that are young adult or adult, there's so much of story that you get involved in, and there's so much intensity that increases, and you don't want to get invested in anything of that sort when you're in a slump. And the best way to actually mitigate this is by reading a children's book or a middle grade book. Now I have given some recommendations here as well, but I also have great recommendation videos of purely just children's books or middle grade books. You can choose anything from that and you can try reading a children's book or a middle grade book for a change. An additional point here is that these books have a lot of illustrations. So when you read these books, you feel like, there's so many pictures and you're not reading just words. So you feel like you're actually going through the book faster and you can relate more to the book when there are illustrations than just words, especially when you're in a slump. So this actually helps. Let me know if this tip actually works out for you. Tip number 5, and this is to read more on your mobile or on your Kindle or on your iPad. So the reason why this works is because when you're reading on mobile, you're more likely to read more than when you have a physical book in your hand, especially when you're out or when you're in transit, or if you're like cooking, or if you're like doing anything else. You feel like if you have it on your mobile, you get through things faster. Another reason why this works is because when you're reading on your mobile, the chapters look really small, and so you feel like you're covering more characters than you ideally would if you're reading from a book. And more often or not, you end up like finishing 3-4 chapters on your mobile, and then you can always pick it up back on your physical book if you do have one, or you can continue reading it on your mobile, and once you're done, again, you will get the satisfaction that you've done a book. And this especially works if you're working, or if you're out with your kids, or out on the park, or anything of that sort. You can always just take out your mobile and start like flipping through a few pages. Now as you keep flipping, you will definitely feel like you're accomplishing something, and that's why this tip works. Tip number 6, and this is to work on audiobooks. Now I know audiobooks is not everybody's cup of tea, and a lot often people don't really experience joy when they do an audiobook in comparison to reading a physical book. But let me tell you what, if you are in a reading slump, audiobooks help a lot, especially if you choose audiobooks very strategically. So if you pick like a middle grade book or a children's book, the audiobooks are so much more fun, and you don't need to be, listening so keenly into the book to know what happens. Now, if you book a young adult or an adult book, then you need to know exactly what happens, and you need to keep the reading speed at very low so that you're able to follow everything that's being read. But if you do this with a children's book or a middle grade book, then there's a lot of entertainment as you read the book. And I'm giving you some examples here from middle grade's book that I read on audiobooks, and it was just brilliant. And these books get done within like 2 hours or 2.5 hours max. So you feel like in 2 hours you just finished a book, and then you feel like doing a few more. And once you get the hang of it, you can definitely jump back to your physical TBR, and this works. My last and final tip for this video is to read or reread a book that you totally love. Now in my case, I would specifically pick up like the Harry Potter series, especially the illustrated version, and I would start like going through that book. Because when you start rereading books that you already know that you love, you get more invested in the book, and you feel that, happy feeling, and you enjoy the book in the process. It could be any book that you love in any genre. It could be fantasy, it could be young adult, it could be middle grade, it could even be thrillers or children's books or anything of that sort. But if you try and reread a book that you already love, maybe in a different edition most probably, then you will definitely feel the warmth coming back to you and the joy of reading filling you up. And once you get that joy back, that will definitely take you out of a reading slump. Do let me know if you try any of these tips, or if you are planning to try any of these tips in the comments below, and let me know if it helps you. As long as I can help at least one person get off a reading slump, I am totally game. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe. Bye!